So welcome to the seventh lecture in the 30th anniversary coffee lecture series. I'm Gina Canarozzi from the Chemistry, Biology, Pharmacy Information Center, and today I'm talking about LinkedIn. So, oops. I guess by now everybody knows what LinkedIn is. It's the world's largest professional network, founded in 2003 and acquired by Microsoft in 2016. It's coming up on 1 billion members in more than 200 countries and territories, which is a lot of users. And in Switzerland, they have 3.9 million registered users in 2023, which is 44% of the population, which is pretty incredible. One thing about LinkedIn is that they count the number of accounts, not the number of active users. They don't give out this information, so we don't know how many active users there are, but still a lot of people have signed up since the LinkedIn has been founded. So LinkedIn has a lot of different uses for individuals, for organizations, and for learners. This talk is mostly about the individuals, but I do want to say something about organizations. We use LinkedIn at the InfoCentrum, and that's mostly for disseminating information. We've defined our audience as chemistry, biology, and material science, students, professors, postdocs, scientists in general in Zurich, Bern, and Basel. And so we put in information that should be useful for these people. If you have a business, you can also use it for recruitment. They have recruitment built in. You can apply for jobs and advertise jobs within the LinkedIn platform. You can do marketing, branding, and sales. We're not doing that. They also have LinkedIn Learning, which is a site for learning where you can find a lot of courses on hard skills and soft skills. ETH Zurich licenses that software, so if you can't get it for free, you can get it for pretty cheap. They also have a partnership with SlideShare for slides, so they really cover all aspects of your professional life. So for individuals, there is a free version and a paid version. It's the freemium model. With the free version, you get a lot. At the moment, I use only the free version, and what you can do with the free version is personal branding. You can make a profile, present your skills and your experience on your profile, and from there attract. If you're looking for a job, it's very useful. So that's why I put it on originally, was to look for jobs, and then you can attract people offering jobs to your profile without you having to do anything, and you can also search actively for jobs. But it's also good to build a network with colleagues, classmates, and business acquaintances. If you guys are students, I would start now, because maybe the people you know now you won't know in 10 years, and you want to keep that connection. And it's better than Instagram because you can just keep professional things. You don't have to have them looking at your kids' photos, or if you don't want to. I use it now to access relevant information and trends. It's replaced Twitter for me personally, because Twitter has gone deeply downhill and I don't want to use it anymore. So I get all of my news on LinkedIn, and I get a lot of news about science, who's publishing what and what's going on in Zurich and EMBL and SIB, for example. You can also build your reputation as an expert if you start posting quality content, and that's taking it one level further. Most people just use it as an information access. With the premium subscription for individuals, it might be helpful if you're looking for a job. So you get applicant insights, for example. You get these ads all the time. See the jobs where you're a top applicant. Or if you're applying for a job, they'll tell you you're missing skills that this job is requiring, and they'll tell you what those skills are. So it's not to say add skills you don't have. It's just saying maybe you haven't thought that you really have a lot of soft skills. People don't list them as skills, but they do have them. With the premium, you also get messaging. You can direct message anybody on LinkedIn, and you can also see who's viewed your profile. So LinkedIn has this weird, creepy thing where they tell you who's looked at your profile, and if you look at somebody else's, they'll tell you. So you have to keep that in mind while using LinkedIn. Maybe you don't want to stalk people because they'll know about it. So if I go to my home page on LinkedIn, it looks like this. I have some personal information. I have the page that I manage, which is the Info Centrum, and then I have a feed here that has posts that are targeted for me. So LinkedIn has a very active algorithm that places posts that it thinks are useful for you. And so this is a student, a PhD student. He just published something that has gotten a pretty good reception on LinkedIn. And so it came up to the top of my feed. It got a lot of engagements. That means likes and clicks. So that's probably why it popped to the top of my feed. They also give some suggestions on who I might want to follow, and these are actually good suggestions and people I might want to follow. So if you want to get started with LinkedIn, the first thing to do is build a profile. And here I've put my profile and that of Vincent Greiner, who's from the corporate communications at ETH Zurich. So you can see some differences here. In my banner photo, I put a picture of bacteriophages attacking a bacteria because I think it's a cool photo. It doesn't exactly give any information at all about me, except that maybe I'm a nerd. If you don't know what it is, you don't even know that I'm a nerd. If you look at his banner photo, he tells you exactly what he does. He's into storytelling and content strategy. He gives a list of what he can help you with: text, social media, podcasting, coaching. And then he even has a little blurb here, which is an invitation. There's nothing more powerful than a good story. Let's create yours together. So you can only go to here on his profile and you see so much about what he does. You know exactly. So this is what you're aiming for if you want to build a profile. He also uses, where I've put in my title here, he puts a lot of more information and sales information and includes hashtags which will attract people to his profile. So there's a lot of strategy that goes into building a profile. It's not just, slap your CV in there. It's meant to be a dynamic document that follows you and reflects who you are at the current time. So in addition to this kind of information, you can put your experience, education, licenses, skills. Skills is important if you're looking for jobs. You can also put honors and recommendations. You can make recommendations right on the platform. These are all important because it defines who you are and who you're related to on LinkedIn. So the more up to date this information is, the more relevant will be the information that you see in your feed and who sees yours. So after you build a profile, you should build a network. They give you suggestions. We suggest that you don't upload your contacts. It'll ask you if you want to upload your contacts. That's not usually a good idea. And don't add as many people as possible. LinkedIn favors quality over quantity. So if you just add random people that are making random content, random comments, it's going to decrease your visibility. Do connect with people you know and that are relevant and that you might want to keep in touch with for the future, and build your network slowly over time. The other thing you should do on LinkedIn is interact, because interactions count a lot on LinkedIn, especially for what you see in your feed. What you interact with, you'll see more of that in your feed. So what you want to do is quality interaction, and that means taking part in discussions, but not just saying, yeah, or ooh. You have to give a meaningful comment that other people will like. And that will, that's what it means by taking part in discussions and making meaningful contributions. You should also share only valuable content. I love LinkedIn because it doesn't have any of the crap that's on Facebook. And so you really get just pure science almost. Let's hope it stays that way. You can interact with posts with reactions, reposts, or comments, and this all helps boost the post in your feeds and everybody else's feeds. So I posted this a few days ago. Jennifer Doudna, the 2020 Nobel Prize winner in chemistry, is going to be giving the Wolfgang Pauli lectures next week at ETH Zurich. If you're in chemistry or biology, this might be interesting for you. And you can see a lot of people have liked it, and it got 10 reposts. And because of this, it'll stay in everybody's feed longer. And you can see it has 1,800 impressions. That means it's shown up in somebody's feed 1,800 times, and not all posts get that many impressions. So if you're a content creator, you have to think about your goals. What do you want from LinkedIn? Do you want visibility? Do you want a job, networking? You focus on what you want to have out of it, and that'll help you put the right content. You also have to think about who's your audience. Is it employers? Are you looking for a job? Are you trying to sell something? Are you trying to build yourself as an expert and talk to your colleagues? And what is the content that will appeal to them? LinkedIn has a lot of analytics, so you can look at the posts and see what's successful and what's not successful. They have a very sophisticated AI-driven pipeline to determine what shows up in users' feed. And this is a simplified diagram of what it looks like when you create content. It goes into a classifier that scores it. If it's spam, it will be eliminated immediately and nobody will see it. If you're wondering what spam is, it's most of the stuff on Facebook. Things that aren't relevant, aren't professional. They also have a human review. If the classifier can't classify it, it'll go to humans that decide if it's good or not. If it makes it through the filters, then they monitor the engagement signals on that post, and that'll tell how long it stays in people's feeds. So when you're on LinkedIn, it's helpful for your friends or your organizations to click the like button if you like it. Don't artificially click. That doesn't help anybody, but then they know what's good, and it also keeps the post around longer. Relevant people in relevant fields give the post more weight, and that's determined by your profile. So this is another reason why you should keep your profile to be a reflection of yourself. Okay, so if you want to increase your engagement, there's some things that you can do. And it's hard to estimate, and I've gotten numbers from different people, but the lifetime of a post with little engagement is on the scale of hours. I've heard from 4 to 20 hours it will stay. So you need shares, comments, reactions within the first hour to make it stay alive. For that reason, you should post on LinkedIn when people are active. And so that's either, according to Vincent from the corporate communications, before lunch, like you've got 15 minutes before everybody goes to lunch, maybe you pop on LinkedIn, or in the late afternoon when people get tired. So he suggests posting between 3 and 5 o'clock in the late afternoon. You can increase engagement with polls, asking questions, tagging people, and tagging people with the @ or using hashtags to make the post more visible. You can also, if you ask a question, sometimes people answer. Media helps keep your posts alive and get engagement, especially video. What they say not to do is use outbound links, because LinkedIn wants you to stay on their platform. So if you put a link to YouTube, then it'll be downvoted because they don't want people to leave their platform to go to YouTube. And don't post useless content. So I'll show briefly the InfoCentrum page. Let me go over here. Where's my mouse? Not on that side. Let me get this thing out of the way. And we can go to here and you can see my feed. If I click on myself, I can see my profile, and then you get all the information about me. Maybe that's not so interesting, but what is interesting is the InfoCentrum page. And if we look here, you can see I have a tagged post now. Every Monday, I put a list of what's going on. And when you do this, people can't see what's going on. The question is, here's what's up in DECOB and DeBio this week. And you have to click on that, see more, and that counts as an engagement. So if you format your post such that people have to click on see more, then you get more engagement. And these are a list of all of the lectures being given this week. Here's the Jennifer Doudna post, And you can see for every post, you get post analytics. So if I click on show stats, then I can see the impressions, the engagement rate. So 7% engagement, that means 7% of people that looked at this post either clicked on it or did something through. So that's pretty good for me. And then when I post the coffee lectures, I get around 100 and 150, 140 impressions for this one. So I think that's it. For the coffee lecture, there is a coffee lecture card on the table, or you can email me for the coffee lecture card. And tomorrow, Andre Killian will be talking about Scopus. If you want to hear about that, come back tomorrow at the same time and place. So I'm happy to take any questions. If you guys have any questions, or if there's questions online, then please unmute yourself.